The written test of the Chunin Exams is one of the best written parts in the entire Naruto story. It's an amazing example of how to write gripping and tense situations in any given series. And the craziest thing is that in the Shonen series that is Naruto, known for its amazing battles, it doesn't have a battle, or at least not a physical one, and it manages to be amazing. So starting things off, in this amazing part of the Chunin Exams, we get the anticipation. We don't know what the exams are gonna be like. We just enter the room with our main characters, we get introduced to the other characters from the Konoha 12, but then we see this room filled with more experienced and scary-looking ninjas. We get Kabuto there who hypes people up, saying that they're crazy. The sound guys attack Kabuto, those who breaks Kabuto's glasses. And now, well, things are tense. What's gonna happen? We don't know. Ibiki shows up, of course. And by the way, Sasuke had just gotten beaten by Rock Lee, which hyped things up even more. We're now seeing people that can beat up Sasuke casually, and Sasuke was deemed as an absolute prodigy. But anyway, Ibiki shows up in the room for the Chunin Exams, and everyone's like, what is it gonna be? What is it gonna be? And he says, it's a written test. Now this is great for so many different reasons. First, it's just subverting expectations to the nth degree. Nobody expected a written test to be in the Chunin Exams, but yet it is. And it also puts Naruto way out of his comfort zone. This is not at all what Naruto wanted to do. It's not his strength. Now, I know a lot of people say Naruto's dumb. He's not dumb, but he's not book smart. So this is not a very good situation for him. He's never been good with tests and written exams, which is obviously good because it puts the character through a very difficult situation. And the exam is very well designed. It is designed to test the resolve of every single shinobi there, as well as their ability to collect intel and not be discovered, which is extremely important. It also obviously tests their intellect, because you have to be smart in order to get the answers, or even if you can answer the test like Sakura was doing without cheating. The test has two parts to it. It's a 10-question test. The first part includes the first 9 questions of the test, and the 10th question is only given after 45 minutes. Now this is a very strange method. Why 9 questions and then just 1 in the end? And, well, of course, this is by design. Ibiki is a master interrogator. He knows how to play with a person's mind. Kakashi even tells Asuma and Kurenai, oh boy, they are screwed and they're not gonna make it very far because Ibiki is rough. So he designs a test that's going to push everyone to their limits. The first 9 questions are pretty straightforward. You have to answer them correctly. If you are caught cheating, you're gonna lose 2 points. If you lose 10 points, you are out, and so are your teammates. This adds a lot of pressure and encourages the teams to play together. Of course, nobody wants to lose, but then you also don't want to lose because you don't want your teammates to get eliminated. The problem is the questions are way too hard for your average genin to answer. The only one who's able to answer them that we see, at least, is Sakura. Kabuto could probably answer them as well, but we don't see how Kabuto passed the exam. But yet, most of the genins are completely clueless as to what the questions are about. Even Sasuke's like, bro, I don't know anything, and he has to cheat. And of course, they begin to realize, okay, they want us to cheat, and they want us not to be found out, because what kind of test would just deduct 2 points if you cheat? Usually, if you cheat, as Sasuke thinks, you would get eliminated straight up, you know? There's no second chance, but in this test, no, you can have a couple of chances before you get out. When they realize that, they begin to cheat like crazy. Some of them begin to get caught. Of course, none of the main characters, but we see a lot of the genins getting eliminated by just failing 5 times in the cheating department and getting deducted 10 points. And Naruto is just there. not knowing what to do, because first, he doesn't really understand he is supposed to cheat, he didn't get the message, and second, he really doesn't have anything that can help him cheat with. So this really puts Naruto under a lot of stress and a difficult situation. We were just wondering, wait, how is Naruto gonna pass? Because if he doesn't pass, Sasuke and Sakura are not gonna pass. So this makes the entire situation absolutely tense, and we see Naruto struggling a lot. Even though it's not a live or die situation, it is still very interesting to watch, and the stakes, they feel high because this is important for our characters. They want to progress as shinobis, they want to become Chunins, and if they fail here, well, it's done. Well, you can try again in 6 months, but we don't have 6 months to spare, do we? It's great to see how every different character, how they use their abilities to cheat. It's also nice to see how abilities are used in other ways than fighting in the Naruto universe, which is something not very common. Of course, Naruto is a battle shonen, so mostly characters are gonna be using their abilities during fights, but when they use them so creatively, as just like how they do it here in the first test of the Chunin Exams, it's amazing to watch. We also didn't know exactly the scope of the powers of the Konoha 12, the Sand siblings, the Sound Ninjas. They were using their powers for the first time. It was only a small glimpse of what they could do. For example, the Byakugan, we didn't know what the Byakugan was. It was just seeing through the person in front of Neji, and Neji was copying the answers. That's crazy. Shino was a pretty mysterious guy. We didn't actually know he had control over 1 billion bugs, so when he looks at a bug that was passing him a message, we were like, huh, wait a minute, he's talking to the bug or something? That's pretty strange, isn't it? Gaara, using the sand eye, was also very interesting, and we're like, oh, this guy can use sand for real, huh? And the craziest one, probably, when Kankuro uses his puppet and poses it as one of the refs. One of the proctors, they were, looking at the people cheating. That was probably the most audacious cheating form in the entire test, except for Tenten putting mirrors on the ceiling. Like, what? Anyway, how did they not see the the mirrors? I don't know, man. I think the proctors, they liked Tenten for some reason. I don't know, because they should probably have seen that. But anyway, it's funny. It's just funny. As more and more people get eliminated, Naruto gets very desperate. He knows his teammates are gonna pass the test. Sasuke is using his Sharingan to copy the hand of the guy sitting in front of him, so he can just copy what he is writing on the paper. And Sakura's just answering the questions nonchalantly because she just knows the answers. Naruto is screwed. So when he's looking around, what am I gonna do? Hinata comes and says, "Hey Naruto, I can give you the answers." And of course, the proctors would see that they were both cheating, because this is not a very good method. Naruto was just looking over the paper. This is like the most basic form of cheating you will see in any middle school. And if the proctors don't see that, then they're not even ninjas at this point. But Naruto, he kind of rationalizes that it wouldn't be very good for him to cheat. He thinks Hinata is duping him. He thinks Kiba put her up to it, that Hinata wanted to screw over Naruto so that Naruto would be eliminated and they would have fewer contestants to contend against. And then Hinata and her team would be better off. Of course, this was by no means Hinata's intention. Naruto completely misreads the entire situation, just like everything that relates with Hinata in the entire series, because she just wants Naruto to pass because she has a very big crush on him. And yet he says, no, I don't want to cheat, Hinata, I want to do it the good way. But of course, Hinata got the answers by using her Byakugan, so she cheated. And when Naruto says that quote-unquote self-righteous thing that, oh, I don't cheat, yeah, I don't cheat, Hinata's like, oh, Naruto, you're such a good man, but it wasn't because of that. it's just because Naruto thought Hinata was up to something, which is really funny if you think about it. It's ironic. And after refusing Hinata's help, Naruto puts everything he has left in the 10th and final question. He thinks, I mean, I might as well try the last one. I couldn't answer any of the 9 first questions, so maybe the 10th question will be easier, which is kind of a stupid thought. Why would the last question be the easiest one? Obviously, it wouldn't be. Ibiki would be up to something, but in a moment of desperation, that's the best Naruto could think about. The 10th question arrives, and then Ibiki makes a very difficult proposition. A proposition that the genins must answer immediately, and this puts them under immense pressure. They may choose to abandon the test, and if they do so, all their teammates will lose with them. And then everyone's like, wait, why would we just abandon the exam? It doesn't make sense. And Ibiki says, well, if you don't abandon it, you will never be able to become a Chunin should you miss the question. So if you miss the 10th question, you're done. You're a genin forever, just like Guy's dad. And for Naruto, this is literally the worst thing that Ibiki could say, because his goal is to become a Hokage. You have to advance as a ninja to become a Hokage, even though it is implied in the Boruto anime that Naruto became Hokage straight from genin, because things are kind of weird, but in the Naruto anime, we see Kakashi promoting him to Jonin. Things are messy. Anyway, what matters is that this is the worst thing for Naruto. He needs to become a Chunin, and yet, if he fails this question, he'll never become the Hokage in the future. Well, his goal is dead if that's the case. Now, if you think about it, this doesn't really make much sense. For instance, someone as talented as Minato or Itachi, in that doing the written exam, would Ibiki just cancel them as ninjas? Like, you're not gonna be a ninja anymore. Your career's done, man. And then someone as powerful as them and talented as them would be again and forever. Of course not. This would never hold, especially for ninjas in other villages. Can you imagine Gaara, for instance, failing the 10th question if this was actually a thing, and if the 10th question made you an eternal genin forever? But of course we know this isn't the case, but if that was the case, imagine Gaara going back to the Sand Village and him being literally the strongest ninja they had at the age of 13, and he wouldn't be able to advance as a genin because of the decision of a guy from another village. It makes no sense, and it's not supposed to. This is just a mind game by Ibiki, a very good one. Now, if the genins rationalize that, wait, this guy doesn't have the authority to do that. He's not even from my village, for example. Why would that be the case? They could figure out that Ibiki was full of crap in that moment and that was just a bluff. But because the genins were under so much pressure, they believed it. And also because they were mostly very inexperienced, and they probably don't know very much about how the world works and the politics of advancing through the shinobi ranks. Many fall for Ibiki's trap, and they begin to give up one after the other, dragging their teams with them, being eliminated from the test. And this is the type of test that's only gonna work one time, because as soon as this particular test is over, everybody's gonna be talking about, hey, did you see the 10th question? It was actually a fake out. There was no question. And then in future tests, they wouldn't be able to use the same question because everyone would know, oh no, it's just a bluff. Anyway, the genins begin to leave because they are afraid of never advancing again. And this is the moment Naruto has to make a very difficult decision. Will he be brave and try to answer the question, even though he is a terrible guy for just written exams and he doesn't know much about theory, he is bad at all that stuff? Or will he give up and just disappoint Sasuke and Sakura? It's a difficult choice. I mean, he didn't want to do that. Imagine what would go through his mind if he dragged Sakura and Sasuke with him. It would be also terrible for his ego because he would feel like a loser because Sasuke was doing just fine, his greatest rival, and Naruto, he quit and he took Sasuke out with him. And then Sasuke would just tease Naruto saying, yeah, I lost because of you, you loser. It's at this moment that we have a really nice Sakura character beat, because Sakura, she is looking at Naruto from behind. She imagines what's going through Naruto's mind. The conflict, not knowing, well, should I try to answer this question? And I don't want Sasuke and Sakura to lose as well, but Sakura, she internalizes that conflict Naruto's going through, and she doesn't think it's fair for him to eliminate herself and Sasuke. And because she knows about Naruto's dream, she understands how difficult of a choice that is, and she chooses to give up for Naruto. She thinks, I'm not gonna let Naruto do this to himself. I'm not gonna leave this in his consciousness. If I eliminate the team by quitting here, it's not gonna be as bad for him. Sasuke's not gonna get mad at Naruto, and things would be better between us. And she begins to raise her hand. But at the same time, Naruto also begins to raise his hand, about to give up. And this is the moment you're like, oh man, they're done. What? It's great. You're desperate. You're like, don't give up. But if you give up, it's gonna be bad because you're not going to be Hokage, Naruto. And then as he's about to quit, he just brings his hand down and says, I'm not gonna give up because I don't go back on my word. I am gonna become Hokage no matter what. I'm gonna pass your stupid exam. In this very emotional and cathartic scene, he has this confidence that he wasn't supposed to have because he is in a lose-lose situation, and yet he has the guts to continue. Sakura is actually very proud of Naruto in that moment, and that thing that Naruto just did, screaming his lungs, saying he's not going to give up, bolsters the entire room, and nobody else decides to quit after Naruto's speech. And this is one of the reasons why so many candidates advance through the forest of death, and that's why they had to do preliminary fights before the main fights in the Chunin Exams final. When nobody else gives up, Ibiki reveals that they've all passed. There was no 10th question. The decision itself was the question. This was the mark of a true shinobi. The situations they're in and how they react to will decide if you are a strong-minded being or not. And this is important for a Chunin. You need to make the right decisions under pressure. And if you're afraid of losing, you're never going to win. It's subversion of expectations, just like the entire concept of a written test is, but this is so ninja-like. It's amazing how Kishimoto did this entire test, revolving around the 10th question, and how characters would have to face their biggest fears, especially Naruto never becoming the Hokage, to pass the test. Sakura gets an amazing character moment here as well, and we get development for both of them specifically. Of course, if you were sure that your abilities were enough to answer the 10th question, you would probably choose not to give up. But even if you are very confident in your abilities, there's always that chance you're gonna miss the question. Maybe it's a trick question, maybe it's something else entirely other than a written exam, which actually was the case, but there was no question. The decision itself was the question. And when Ibiki takes out his headband, showing his absolutely mangled head, all sorts of scars and burns, he says, you need to be strong to be a shinobi. You have to make the tough decisions during the tough times. And this is an example of that. Of course, it was in a non-dangerous scenario in terms of your life is in danger, but still, there was a lot at stake. And Temari even asks, wait, so the first 9 questions were completely useless? And Ibiki just said, no, they were actually very important because we just separated those who had any chance whatsoever of advancing through the 10th question from those who didn't. Collecting information is a key ability of a ninja. He explains that the test was designed for them to cheat. They had to cheat in order to pass. Only Sakura was able to not cheat and pass, answering the questions correctly. So they implanted a couple of Chunins with the right answers so that people could get the answers from. There's a very interesting line from Ibiki here that always stuck with me. He says, no information is better than misinformation. A ninja must know what to collect and how to collect in terms of information, because it's one of the most important things for war, and also shinobi missions and everything. This test simply put every character under a lot of psychological pressure. It was perfectly written with every single thing you would expect from a test for ninjas that want to advance their careers. And the ending, when Ibiki is collecting the tests and he sees that Naruto didn't answer a single question because he couldn't cheat and he couldn't do anything, he's very impressed, saying, "Wait, hold on, a kid passed without answering a single question? This is unheard of." And it's one of the best parts. Naruto was never gonna pass the test if he was to use his intelligence and his intel gathering abilities, because he had none in that point of the story. He had no theoretical knowledge about the shinobi world. He could be very street smart, but that wasn't his forte. What he had was pure guts and determination, and that's how he passed the written test. If he wasn't as determined as he is, he would have failed because he would have given up in the 10th question, and he almost did. Luckily he didn't, and he advanced. And this very much informs the character throughout the entire story. Naruto is having guts, never to give up. It's literally the theme of the character during the Pain arc. When he beats Tendo Pain, he says, "Give up trying to making me give up," mimicking Jiraiya's words in his first novel. And not giving up and not going back on his word is literally Naruto's ninja way, which he comes up with in this very test when he decides to take the 10th question. So this test has major repercussions during the entire series, and it's just beautifully done. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, because it really helps me out, especially if you watch my content regularly. Like this video to help me with the YouTube algorithm, and watch this other video right here for more content just like this. Thank you so much for watching.